Today, I'm very excited to welcome Dr. Michael Bagnell back to the podcast. It's been more than 3 years, I think, maybe even 4 years when we first spoke. And this time, I'm thrilled to be joined by May Bagnell. And together, they run the Bagnell Brain Center, where they help families heal through neurofeedback, oxygen therapy, and intensive brain-based programs. Welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Wonderful to be together.
Yes, it is. So, what inspired you both to create a space that brings together neuroscience, empathy, and holistic care?
That's a great question.
I'll let her start.
Well, we both love people. We both love, the transforming aspect of this work. And then collectively, him on the functional neurology side with all of the brain-based tools and techniques that we've learned and studied. And then on my side, being a life coach and leading with compassion and empathy with our families, as well as our adult clients, and also integrative nutrition, we bring all of these elements together to support our clients. And you're right to use the word empathy. I think that is something that is so important to lead with. So many people are lacking hope, and of course,
Right.
they're struggling with so much stress and indecision and decision fatigue, right? Just what do I do? How do I help my child? How do I help myself?
Mhm.
So having that compassion for the family is very important to us. And so we direct a lot of our support to the parents,
Yes,
even though the patient may be the child, but
yes,
the parents are our clients. So we like to take care of them.
of
Yeah.
course.
On top of that, I would say, I'll just kind of tie a bow on that, is that when I got out of my original training in chiropractic medicine, I was very interested in the brain. I said when I got out, and I went right into a postgraduate neurology program for doctors. But we married, 3 children. Okay, enough schooling. I had to put that on the back burner. And then many, many years later, and I would be tracking with the brain. What is the real essence of what we're doing in physical medicine? How is it affecting the brain? And so many years later, she said, hey, listen, the kids are older. They're on their way. If you want to go back, it's a good time. So I jumped back into what was now clinical neuroscience. And
Yes,
so going into a fellowship program about brain injury rehabilitation, it opened a whole nother dimension for us that this is where we want to finish out our career, is
yeah,
working with this, one by one with clients, restoring hope. And I would say helping people get back to their life.
yeah,
That was the thought.
Yeah.
How do I help this child thrive again
yes,
in their social, academic environment? How do I help this adult get back to cognitive function for the remainder of their life? How do we help someone with PTSD or anxiety or depression
mhm,
come out of that and then be restored? It's through the brain. That's the primary organ, if you will.
yeah.
So very exciting how we've been able to work in this area, and ADHD has been a big component of helping people.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that from my experience with my own, especially with my own children, I feel that the emotional part is missing from the rehabilitation. And
Yes.
just going, through the all what we do, that's a missing part. And I think that's what brought the best healing for my kids, working on the emotions as well, which is
Yeah,
Yes.
missing.
agreed,
Yes.
agreed. Yeah.
That's very powerful. Well, we'd love to hear more of your story too, but that's amazing. And hearing from you, someone who's going through that and having this in your family,
Yes,
that gives us great affirmation,
yes.
right? To that we know that this is an important piece of healing. Maybe it's not direct, it's indirect, but incredibly powerful and so needed.
Your intensives, how do they work?
Yeah, I'll let you.
Oh, so yeah, so our intensive, so we recoin them immersives.
Immersives, yeah.
Mhm.
Because intensives people felt too strong and
Yes.
intensive. But our immersives are just that really. We spend 2 weeks with a person. They have a break in the middle, like the weekend is a relaxation break, but we'll have 5 days, a break, and then 4 days. So it's 9 days altogether. But prior to that, we're doing a lot of understanding, learning about them. learning about their background metabolically, neurologically, and even psychologically, right?
Yes.
We understand that some people have been in their chronic illness for many years. So that shifts the identity of the person. So we get to work with them preliminarily prior to them coming into the practice. And then we help them, get, accommodations nearby so they feel comfortable and safe distance from the clinic. And then we get to work with them every single day, which is a real privilege. And we do all of the clinical diagnostics to help us understand, what specifically this person's going to need. But
Yes.
because we've worked with them already virtually before they came into the clinic, we probably are like 50% of the way there of understanding their health and then what they're going to need. So that really allows us to step into a full immersive experience with them, which includes, all of their neurological therapies, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, coaching with me, nutritional, guidance. We go through that journey. And then we let them just rest after their time with us because we want their body and their brain to have a time of rest, encourage them to have really good, nourishing food. And then on the weekend, they rest and recover, and then we repeat week 2. So by week 2, our clients are already experiencing some shifts and changes in their
Yes.
neurology already. They're already seeing some differences. Week 2 is more about sustainability. Now we're working on integrating everything, but also giving them a real strong at-home brain training program so that when they're at home, they can continue this work. Because we encourage our patients to recognize that their condition has they brought their condition to us, but they've been in this space for a long time potentially, right?
Yes.
And so healing, as we would love it to be linear, it's not linear, but it becomes more sustainable after
Yes.
we've put in all of the big components in, and then give them agency over their health. Teach them what they're going to be able to continue to do once they get back home. Of course, they still have contact with us. So, for 30 days after that, we stay connected because we want to make sure that what they're doing at home feels good and comfortable and efficient.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so then what's nice is that clients that have been in our immersive protocols, we get still connected calls from them like months down the line. I got a text from one of our gals a couple weeks ago who came to us in January, and she still, communicates with me every 2 weeks, and she's showing me her progress of how well she's doing,
Oh, wow. That's
which is
amazing.
really amazing. Yeah, because she came in and she said this to me in the text, which is really neat. She says, I came to you in a walker. I walked out of your clinic and now I'm dancing. And
Oh,
I'm
wow. Wow.
like, this is amazing. Like,
Yes.
this is what we love to do, right?
Yeah, we actually like to provide them on their way out of our office for the active care. We call it, this is your personal brain formula. Here you go.
Mhm.
So we like that language. We kind of like coin that. So, you can use that. Our personal brain formula, your personal brain formula, like for your son is different than for that son over there. So that's what we want to come up with. What is very specific for you that will take you further even when you leave here? Personal brain formula.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So does the week always combine neurofeedback or?
Yes,
Yes.
with some people, we have a suite of therapies, right? As you know, neurofeedback, we have audiovisual entrainment, which is called brain tap. We have pulsed electromagnetic frequency. But does everyone get the same? No, actually they don't. So I'm looking at kind of the hierarchy. What's the top need? Is it
Yes.
primitive reflex integration? As an example, it's a great example. Someone has let's say a 10-year-old son, and they say, he's dealing with ADHD, we want help, which is a very common call that we get.
Yes.
We've read about neurofeedback, that's what we want. Great, that can be a very big help, as you know. I do an examination, a careful examination, and I say, your son has primitive reflexes.
Yes.
That has to be fixed before neurofeedback, as you know.
Yes.
So investing time and money in neurofeedback until you fix those, you have to get the foundation set.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
primitive reflex integration. And then we're also working with something, I really want to show you this. This is an amazing eye training device.
Yes.
Okay. It's actually back here. It's called Neuroline Fit. This, after so many years of working with eye track training, this is really, I don't want to say the Cadillac, maybe it's the Tesla. I don't know what you call it, the Maserati, but it fits over the iPhone, and a child or an adult, and we use this with our clients once they leave, they're looking in here and they're training their eye daily, and it's having different types of things for focus, attention, concentration, and eye tracking is the way to develop the neurocircuitry of the brain.
Oh,
So this is
wow.
one of the most advanced tools that I found at a
Yes.
low expense for people to train all over the world, and it runs through an app. So
Yes.
you see that how your scores are doing. Your
Yes.
trend, excellent for training the eye-brain connection and the circuitry, which helps with all of those things
Oh,
in attention.
wow. That's
Isn't that
interesting. And actually, that was my next question because
Oh,
I saw you with that device, which I've never seen before.
yeah.
So this,
It is really breakthrough. We use the goggles that are the full face, that when we're evaluating someone, this
yes.
is the smaller version to train the brain on an ongoing basis. So we highly recommend that people start utilizing these. We love them to be going through training first, but even in light of that, like let's say us, we say, well, our brains are pretty good. You can still train your brain
Oh,
through
wow.
the eyes for improving. Not for
Okay.
improving your vision, right? I wear glasses, but for improving my brain circuitry.
yeah.
Of
So
course.
concentration, attention, focus
Yes.
is increasing. Right.
Uh-huh. So is that a device that families can just purchase and
Yeah, they can. Yeah, we're in the process of helping connect many of our, of course, our clients, but also it'll start to go out through our social media. People can contact us. We want to make sure they have the right guidance, and it's
okay.
very simple to use, very user friendly.
Okay, yes, because that's something that I think many families struggle with is the eye exercises.
Yes,
Yeah.
very difficult
And
to do.
even if a simple VOR, they just can't do it at home. And
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very difficult to train the eyes in certain people, young people in particular, even for me. So you have to be able to get their eyes to be stable, right?
yes,
Stable. A lot of times they're just moving around. And that's the real key. This can assist in that process. There may be more needed depending on the severity, but I would say the great number of people, the vast majority could benefit from training. And it may take a little bit, especially if they don't have good gaze stability, but we're training monocularly, one eye, but it trains both sides of the circuits.
wow, that is amazing. And I'm so happy we spoke about it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask your thoughts about working on eye movements before working on primitive reflexes, or do you think there isn't any hierarchy?
No, I believe you have to work on the primitive reflexes first.
Mm-hmm.
So working on the primitive reflexes and you layer in the eye movements, great. If you think you're going to stabilize the eyes with primitive reflex issues, you're probably not going to do that.
No.
So layering them together can be good, but you have to be working. If there's primitive reflexes, if there's an ATNR, they're going
Yes,
to have trouble crossing that center line.
of
If
course.
there's an STNR, they're going to have trouble with vertical eye movements. And this is all brainstem. And the control for your eye movements is primarily brainstem. So I would say layering them together, and that's one of the secrets, I guess you would say, don't tell anybody, of our success, is that we layer things together, because people will come, Dana, and they will say, we did vision training a year ago, and it was a little bit helpful. And then we did 40 sessions of hyperbaric, and that helped a little bit. And then we're doing tutoring, and I say, okay, we're going to do it all together.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
We're going to do
Exactly.
primitive reflexes. You're going to do hyperbaric when we're finished to get that brain just really healing fast. We're going to do eye
Mm-hmm.
exercise in between. We're going to do et cetera, et cetera. So the layering effect, many times, when done properly, it's not just throw everything in like the
Right.
Yeah.
kitchen sink. The layering based on the hierarchy of needs. So a typical session with me might be 15 minutes of primitive reflex integration. While I'm doing that, I may be having a red light therapy or laser photobiomodulation over the cerebellum at the
Yes.
same time. And then I might move to sensory motor training. Now I got cerebellar, sensory motor, and brainstem, all that activity. Now I'm going to move to some eye training,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I may even put in tongue stimulation there, which
Yes.
most people say, what is tongue stimulation? I'm activating that brainstem so I get those eyes moving, and it may be super simple. It may not be very much. I have a big piece of paper with one dot has like a target, and I have that child look at that, and I'll watch them much like this. So I don't go behind them. I want to watch their eyes. You look at that, and I move their head. I'm checking their okay, you jumped off, and I'll play with them. We'll have
Yes.
fun, engaging them, making sure I stabilize those eyes. So it's an art. It's an art. And it's not the easiest thing, but that's what we love to do.
Wow. And I was asking all the questions because the beginning of my journey, I started a lot with vision therapy.
Okay.
And then I realized it was a top-bottom approach. And I had to go from the beginning because teenagers came and as if all my gains of many years had disappeared, and I just had to build it up from bottom up.
Yes.
Yes, very good. Yeah.
Yes,
You came to that through experience. Yeah, that's important. I think
yes,
to a great degree, I did as well. Like, when you study all these things, and then you have to learn what's the neurologic how does the brain develop in these children? And so I'm going, okay, that was good. That's good. Oh, there's a little bit of a problem there. So I think that's one of the most overlooked areas is the primitive reflexes when people are new in their journey with someone who has neurodiversity, someone who is,
yes.
a child with ADHD, or they're just figuring this out and there's not enough attention paid to that. So it's something that needs help. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. In my experience, I also noticed that a lot of people are only focused on the primitive reflexes and they're not
Right.
understanding that there's more to go.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
Well,
that's why the layers. Go ahead. I'm
no, I'm
sorry.
just going to say, just to piggyback on what you were saying, that's why we've chosen, because of the experience, to layer things together. And when you layer them together, stacking them together, they just work synergistically better,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? And oftentimes, I mean, I'm always the one who's talking to our initial clients coming in, and they'll often call for neurofeedback because neurofeedback is all over everywhere and everyone wants neurofeedback. And so my guidance to them is neurofeedback's amazing, and neurofeedback has so many applications, and it's not the only, it's usually not the standalone solution that's going to support the recovery of the things that your child needs.
Right.
So then
Yeah.
I have to educate them on all of these things that we're talking about now that they don't even know about yet, right?
Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
like, what is a primitive reflex? Well, let me tell you. Like, well, why the eye movements matter? Well, let me tell you.
Right.
And then allow them to make a stronger choice for their child of, rather than just doing neurofeedback, to now a more comprehensive approach that is more synergistic of all of those things. And that's where, things improve and the strength comes for that child.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you only use one tool in the toolkit, then everything has to fit to that tool, right? You've heard that kind of
Exactly.
adage or that colloquial term. So just recently, a patient of ours says, I have a friend, their daughter is speech delayed, does not speak at all, actually. And so they've gone to someone who does brain mapping and neurofeedback. And the person has her doing home neurofeedback with her daughter and 100 to 200 sessions.
Wow.
What do you think about that, Dr. Bagnell? I said, that's a lot of sessions. And so is neurofeedback an amazing tool? Yes, 100%. We use it. That's why it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Is it the tool that I would use solely for someone who has no speech? Absolutely not.
Exactly.
You need to work primitive reflexes. Photobiomodulation
Yes.
has been shown to improve the activity in the Broca's, the Wernicke's area, cerebellar area. So we took one tool, and that's why they're saying 100 to 200 sessions. So we find that you may not need that much. You have to have the appropriate
Right.
tool.
Yes.
So, that's where really understanding how to put things together has been a real blessing for us. Yeah.
Yes.
I know you know that because I've seen videos of you doing multiple things, which is
Yes.
exactly the principle.
Yes.
Yes. But I'd say if people come to you at the age of 10 and ask neurofeedback, I'm more reasonable than I hear lots of kids of 3 or 4 and the parents want to do
Neurofeedback.
neurofeedback.
I know. We get those phone calls too, and it's like, oh,
It can be done. It's just not as profitable because you're missing the brainstem integration, which you cannot touch with neurofeedback. You can't.
Yes.
So yeah, it's always important to try to help the parents. So I give them the evidence and let them know I want you to put your resources and your time and your child's well-being where it's best served.
yeah.
And that is getting these reflexes integrated. And this is the component package that we would use rather than neurofeedback. Maybe later neurofeedback, but we may not
Yes.
even need it. We may not even need it.
Yes, exactly. And can we end with your 6 principles for emotional regulation?
So I probably spoke about principles, but it's not an actual framework. It's more of like things that I would want to teach a parent. So when I'm working with a parent, I always say this, I say, we're the adults in the room, right? So our energy is going to affect our child's energy, right? And of course, we know the child's energy affects the home, but our energy and our energy response is affecting the home and affecting that child, right? They're going to mimic. So I always help the parent learn how to self-regulate themselves, right? To learn this nervous system regulation for them. And I speak a lot about training for calm because it isn't something that we can just jump into when we need it, right? Training for calm is like you're preparing for when you're going to need to be able to command this state of your nervous system. And it takes practice because if we're constantly, like high stress, high stress, high stress, it's hard to get that system down. So I tell my parents, and I practice this daily, is in the morning or in the evening or both, even better, morning rhythm and an evening rhythm to train for calm. And it could be an app, it could be brain tap, it could be a meditation, right? Breath work. These are principles that help the nervous system, as you know, to kind of slow down, right? Lower the arousal, get into that parasympathetic state, which when we're more calm, we're more level-headed, we can respond differently, we can make better choices. So overall, it's an incredible principle to adopt for any human being, really. But I love to teach our parents to self-regulate, and then I help them teach their children how to self-regulate, because I could teach their child, or I could say, okay, Susie, we're going to learn to breathe today and we're going to do this, right? But if I teach the parent about breath work, then my invitation to them is in the afternoon, like that in between time of like coming in from school and then doing homework or other activities. Could you set aside 15, 20 minutes where as a family, you sit on the floor or you sit on the couch, you put music on and you're practicing your breathing together? Because what that does, it sets up the family like that calm is coming,
Yeah.
right? The day's been busy, but calm is coming, right? Like when you sit down to like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and you and I are like, oh, that's so nice, right? It's like your nervous system's like primed for that cup of tea or whatever. So calm is coming is a practice that the parents can do. And we don't have to rush to the next things. If we're doing that, we're overscheduling ourselves.
Yeah.
We're overscheduling our children, and that's on us, right? It's not because the children have so many activities. The parents are scheduling the activities, right?
Yes.
And we understand there's a lot to do in this life, and they want to give them a lot of opportunity, which nothing wrong with that, as long as we're building in plenty of time to prioritize having a calm nervous system as a family.
I think that's such an important lesson for all our intensives, because often the parents' nervous system dictates the future. That they're not going to
Yes,
do the exercises at home, kind
yes.
of.
Yes, and I often tell our parents, this program you're enrolling your child in is as much for you as it is for your child. You're concerned about your child here, but I'm concerned for you.
Yes.
Because you're stressed, and I understand you're
Yeah.
stressed, and there's a lot of things that are weighing you down.
Yeah.
These principles are things that you can adopt in your life, and by doing so, your child's going to be better for it, right? So I anchor that connection of that they're participating in their child's well-being by
Good.
taking care of their well-being.
Very good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And I'm really hoping to come and visit you one day.
Oh,
You ought
my.
to. We would love to have you here. That'd be amazing.
Oh,
We would-
so thank you very much for the time and the explanation. And I'm
Sure.
hoping more people will hear about your amazing service, because it takes into account all what we need for healing.
Well,
Yes, very
thank you,
good.
Dana. Thank you for inviting us, and we'll
Yes.
we'll have to have you on our podcast the next time.
Ah,
So much
okay.
we can learn more of your story, which is, I know,
Yes.
very powerful.
Anyone who's interested who hears this, just send us an email at the Bagnell Brain Center. Send us an email through our website, and then we'll contact you and we'll work out the details.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So thank you so much.
Of
Okay.
course.
Thank you. Have a
Okay.
wonderful day.
You too.